If law firms don't acknowledge that there are changes in the workflow process, if law firms don't adopt the better changes that are being suggested, then clients will not only continue but expand their outsourcing of legal services. Today, the corporate client has the opportunity to go to India, to go to the Philippines, to go to, no offense intended, Toledo, Ohio, or any other small community where the cost of living is different and lawyers are willing to accept a lower compensation level for good quality work. It's amazing. I talk to clients of mine who are expanding and who are seeking to expand by using the contract lawyer modality first so they can get comfortable that they have a continuing flow of work before they engage somebody full-time on staff. The same is true with corporate America. They will go outside the law firm. And so unless we're sensitive to reducing the cost of legal services for our clients, to understand their business, to know what makes them tick and help guide them to a better business model for them and less trouble in the legal community for them, unless we do that, we're not going to have a business. In the last couple of years, when there was great resistance to price increases, lawyers and law firms had to cut overhead. They did this by looking at the process of their workflow, by looking at how many staff they had and so forth, and they began to reduce that number. Some lawyers still say, well, gee, you know, keeping the basketball tickets, that's a small item. Don't change that. We use that for entertainment purposes. And others will say, whatever small items we do cut, when we look at them as a whole, it's a large number. And I can tell you from running a business, every time we looked at reducing costs that were small, when we were all done, it was a big number. And so that's what the law firms have been doing in the last couple of years. Now they have cut so much, they're wondering whether there's any more to cut. And at some point, you know, you can cut fat, and there's no more fat to cut. If you keep cutting, you're starting to cut into the meat, the bone of the organization. And should, as we expect, business to increase, clients to come back to the table, more work to come into the firm, we will not have the resources needed to be able to do that work. So you've got to continue to address the overhead issue, keep it at a minimum, but you've got to still be efficient and be prepared for an increase in business. It is essential not only to gather in good talent, but also to retain that talent. And in other days, other era, it used to be that it was sort of an up or out. If you didn't make partner at the end of 7 or 8 years, you were out of the law firm. Today, I don't think that's quite as prevalent, and I think in the future it's going to change dramatically as we move toward the corporate model. You don't fire your top salesperson just because they didn't become general manager. Likewise, I don't think in the future we're going to fire the top associate, best talent that we have, just because for whatever reason the partnership track got smaller and they didn't make it to be partner. Rather, we're going to continue to re-educate our talent and make sure they are ahead of the curve to the extent we can, certainly the best talent that we can afford. Advancement in the future is going to be based on merit, not on seniority. And so here you have to define what merit means. And this is where some of the issues are going to arise because it's always dealing with compensation. And compensation, as you know, is a critical element. So what are you going to do to keep that talent? What are you going to do to continue to educate that talent, to make continuing legal education available to them in a meaningful way? So I think that in today's world, the up or out is no longer going to be the standard. We're going to have to find a new standard. And we're going to look to retain the best talent we can, no matter what their equity position may be inside the firm. Thanks for joining us today. Obviously, there's much more that can be said on this subject, and on a lot more subjects that will help you become more efficient in the delivery of your legal services, more effective for your clients, and therefore more profitable for you. If you've got any thoughts about what we've discussed here, please let me know at edpoll@lawbiz.com or 800-837-5880. And if you have other ideas and topics, challenges that you'd like us to address in future editions of this series, please let me know as well. Thanks for joining us today.